Welcome back, everyone, to the Invision podcast. My name's Draco, and I'm joined with my buddy Oleg over here. And today we're going to be talking about a couple things. First of all, we're going to talk about why self-development is just so important for us, especially us as teens and young adults in this age range, and how to invest in yourself, which I think is a very big skill that people need to learn. Um, just starting off why self-development is so important, I'm just going to start by saying, look, start as early as you can. All right. Because like we know with compound interest as well, it compounds over time and you just learn more and more. And the more time you have to practice, the better you get at it. That's the big thing. At least what I've learned in 4 years of doing it. Right. And I've seen that it's not a steady incline of just 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. It's a big jump, right? First year, I can tell you was pretty stagnant. I didn't really get much. First year was mostly motivation. I was very, watching all these videos and stuff, very motivated. But when it came to the actual discipline part, man, was it hard, right?
Yeah, totally
Um,
agree. I mean, this honestly brings up a great point because if you start early, you're not always going to pick up the same pace as you did yesterday and the day before that and so on. So once you actually recognize this and actually, get into the whole idea of, doing this, whether I feel like it or not, so just the whole concept of discipline, that's when you actually get better. Because let's be honest, when we all started off, there were some days when we felt like it, some days when we didn't feel like it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So at that point, it's just as time goes on, you kind of figure that out for yourself that the most important thing is just discipline and just get through it no matter what.
And look, we can both attest to this, right? So for those who don't know already, Oleg and I do end of day reports, right? And we have weekly check-in calls. But like Oleg, seriously, we can tell when each other are slacking off for sure because look, it's like almost every week that there's always something that pops up or always there's something that you kind of miss, right? And it's unfortunate, right? Especially when we want to put ourselves in the category of like high performance coach. That's definitely what I've been working towards as well. Um, But the thing is, even as a coach or even as someone who's been in this field for, I mean, 4 years is quite a long time, right? Just to say, like, I'm still maybe beginner. I would say I'm more intermediate, right? Now that I've gotten into, I guess, the 4 year range. But really, I mean, everything is hard. First of all, waking up early, right? You need to get up early. That's extremely hard. And that's like the first thing, right? The first thing you do, you have to wake up early and you have to just get right to it. And it sucks, but
Thankfully, yeah, for sure though. But thankfully for me, actually, I guess I could give my credits and approval to my parents because literally ever since I was like a little kid, I always just been constantly waking up at like 7 in the morning, man. Just weekends, weekdays, it does not matter. I've been up since 7 at the age of 7. So I guess I thank them for that because like I really don't struggle with waking up early at all. There's so many people that are considered night owls, but when it comes to waking up in the morning, they just can't do it. They sleep until 12 and stuff like that. But like realistically, it truly matter. It doesn't really matter what time you wake up or go to bed. It just matters what what productive things that you do during the time that you actually are awake, right? So, but at the same time, the people that do usually go to bed late are usually the ones that do unproductive stuff, whether it is binge watch Netflix, watch a bunch of YouTube videos. They're not actually doing anything productive most of the time. There's obviously the small minority, but most of the people that do that do this kind of activities. So, definitely getting to the habit of waking up early is just super important. And most people say that you're most productive in the morning. Again, it varies from person to person, but just having that, I guess, wake up early in the morning and starting off your day correctly will definitely just get them, just that, you know, those get those steps going for the day onwards.
absolutely. And what you're doing in the morning is really important, right? That's supposed to be building uh basically you're working towards what you're trying to achieve, right? Obviously you have to plan out your goals, but what I did for I think most big chunk of last year was in the morning I would just be researching finance. I was learning how to manage my money, where to put my money, right? All that stuff and how to make my money grow. And just every single day for an hour, I'd put 1 hour into that in the morning. And that's how I start off my morning. And I think the first big thing people need to understand is the way I feel after doing that is so good, right? The feeling of being productive and then moving to the next thing, it really lightens up the day and it makes the day easier.
For sure.
Um, but also I need to say sometimes I had to put that to the side and really focus on my schoolwork, which is what I've been doing this year. School got tough all of a sudden. I'm going to be honest. School got tough, and like you have to balance out your priorities. And for right now, as a grade 12 student, right, high school is most important. So I've had to put that on the side and whatever the hardest task is for me with school, I've got to put that first and I got to do that. Whether it be in the morning or when I come home, the first thing I do for homework is also my hardest task. That's how I like to arrange it. And just tying into why self-development is so important. Look, you need to learn these skills when you go to university, when you're a working professional, when you're a parent. I mean, like basically you're using these skills every day, every second of your life, basically, right? How are you micromanaging your time to get the most? Because if you don't, I'm going to put it plain and simple, you're going to get burnt out and life is going to suck. I'm speaking from experience. Ola can speak from experience as well. Burnout sucks, right? Just tell him how bad is burnout?
It's honestly detrimental to your success, man. You just at times just keep going and then suddenly you just hit this sort of like plateau where you're just like not doing anything at all. I mean, I've experienced this and stuff, and it's truly bad. So definitely micromanaging your time is just super important, I'd say.
Mhm.
Basically,
Like,
is.
like if you burn out, all right, you just become almost stuck in a loop where sometimes you just can't get out of that burnout cycle because you just have so much work and you just don't have a like a section of time to, I guess, cool off, right? And I think it's really hard as a student, first of all, because I can't just take off a week from school and say I'm burnt out, right? The teacher's not going to buy it. My parents aren't going to buy it either, right? And
Mhm.
obviously, we have like, I don't know, Christmas break or March break and things like that. That's supposed to give us rest. But let's be real here. Teachers give homework during that, or we're not doing our proper stuff to get out of that burnout cycle, right? And tell you right now, if you think, oh, at the end of the day, I'm going to play an hour and a half of games to cool off, that's not really going to help you, right? So for those
So,
who,
what would you say is the best? I guess the best things to do to cool off.
that's exactly what I was going to get
It's
to.
not playing. It's not playing video games
I'm going to first
or
say,
whatever others do.
I'm going to first say that at like every single week, you need a rest day or a rest time. Like it's really hard to say that you can dedicate a whole day to resting, but basically what I mean by rest is you do absolutely no work. All right, whether that be work or schoolwork, you just have to block out a big chunk of time for you really to relax. And then the next thing is take a walk. You know what I mean? Take a walk, do some physical exercise that are going to release endorphins in your body. And another big thing is drink a lot of water and eat well. All right. Don't eat crappy foods. Take good care of your body. And biggest thing of all, I would even say is get a good night's sleep. So for me, Sunday's my rest day, and I try to get 9 hours of sleep. Any
I
less,
consider doing a rest day because to be honest, I don't have a rest day at all. Every day I either work, I have schoolwork, or just other stuff I have to do.
but do you block out a time that you can rest?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, okay, literally, I'd say the only true rest that I get is either sleeping or if I get all my work done for the day, which is kind of almost never. Because let's be honest, there's always things to do. But at the same time, how has the rest day like? Has it truly helped you? Like, has it
Absolutely.
truly like you've
Absolutely.
seen some huge benefits from it? Okay.
That is honestly the reason I'm not burnt out stressed right now with all my work. It's very
Yeah. No,
simple,
honestly, from the conversation we've been having, you've been telling you've been crazy with homework. I mean,
really.
I'm the same grade as you, but I'm not getting as nearly as much homework as you are. Or plain and simply, I'm just not doing what I'm supposed to with schoolwork, you could say. But hey, man, you know,
I don't know.
priorities.
I mean, first, obviously, I have a lot of schoolwork, but I feel like I do have a lot of stuff outside of school as well. Um, like I think definitely, first of all, commute is quite a long time, right? Just all of the driving and transit can really add up after a while, right? Going to one place to another. Um,
Yep.
I think there's a couple things you need to consider. Your transit time, which I just said, your eating times as well. You really need to dedicate a good time to eating. Like you want to not rush your meal. Um, and then, oh, there was one more. Give me a
Yeah.
second. Let me think of it. Um, oh my, I'm blanking.
No worries. You just come back to it. But the reason
Yeah.
is when I when I think of rest day, I just automatically associate it with the gym. So obviously I have a rest day from the gym because you can't be working every day. It's just not beneficial to you at all. You need a rest day where you just let your muscles rest. But even on that day, I wouldn't say I just do nothing. Like I still try to get some
Oh
things
yeah.
done
I'm
if
not
needed.
I'm not saying
Right.
stay in bed
So
all day,
yeah.
right? I'm not saying to stay in bed all
Yeah.
day and that's how you're going to rest. I just mean you have to take a break from your work. So whatever schoolwork you're doing, you have to take a break from it, right? Which it seems hard, right? Like it's not that easy. I can't just say like I look at the work that I'm actually assigned for this weekend and it's really hard to be able to say, yeah, I'm going to take all of Sunday off. Some things bleed into Sunday, which I don't like. So I push Saturday hard, and it hurts
Mhm.
because look, I do 5 hard days of school, right? I'm doing schoolwork, homework, everything, on top of the other things like people don't know, but we record our episodes on Friday, right? Friday night. I mean, it gives us kind of like we enjoy doing this, right? So in a sense, it's a little bit of relief before my heavy Saturday. But my Saturday is hard math and then all my homework. Maybe I get a bit of Sunday or Saturday night off, and then my goal is to just have Sunday off. Um, I don't go to the gym on Sundays. I
Okay, so
just
rest day. That's fair.
so I put my rest day on Sunday. I just basically a journal for sure. A bit of exercise, sometimes go out with friends as well. But I would say between those two things, friends and staying at home, you need to find a good balance from it as well. Don't go out with friends just for the sake of it, thinking you're going to feel better, because sometimes it's just better to spend the time alone. It does
Mhm.
depend on your personality type as well. And then finally on Sunday, I really like to, I don't know, sometimes listen, whether it be a podcast, read a book, something productive as well, just because I like that release of, I guess, in a sense, release of dopamine of doing productive stuff, not like fake productive stuff, but really like whenever you do your hard work and you get it done, you get that dopamine release and it feels good to do the hard stuff, making the hard stuff easier, right? So, in a sense, it's almost like that too. But instead of schoolwork, I like to do my own work. So, whether it's working on my business that I'm working on, whether it's educating myself, even just check up calling with friends. That's a big thing I like to do as well, right? Try to call my friends back in Toronto, hey, what's up? Whether it be 15, 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, right? Things like that. And another big thing I need to say is spending time with family. I think that's something that gets neglected and taken for granted. Look, everyone's family is different. Um, but I just want to transition next into our second topic because I think this one's really important. And I know Oleg's going to like this one. Uh, but first, let me just give a little introduction. So, all of us, I would say, who have thought about money have always wondered, how can I make more money? I think that's pretty simple. Everyone wants more money. Money's what drives the world, basically, right? I'm not saying that everyone's greedy, but look, at the end of the day, you need money to buy the things you want, right? If you want those new clothes, if you want those new shoes, you need money. And yes,
And
this
the things you need, like food, shelter, stuff like that.
absolutely,
So basically, money is just essential. I mean, you just can't neglect it. It's impossible.
absolutely. And kind of stumped me off a little bit. I'm a little slow
Listen,
today.
man, I'm just pointing out the obvious that everyone should strive
Absolutely.
to listen. Not everyone wants to, because the truth is, at some points, when you reach a certain like a large sums of money, you just have no peace of mind after that. You know, just kind of striving to get more and more and more. And when you've hit that like nine, like 8 to 9 figure range, man, like it just gets crazy after that. It just gets chaotic. So as long as you're, I guess, in a sense, as long as you're financially free and you could just do things to truly do things that you want, I guess that's where you could say succeeded.
I agree. Now I remember what I
So
was going
just
to say.
strive for your own happiness because everyone is different. So
Mhm. So I was going to say, I know this is a podcast for self development, right? But I think one of the important parts of self development is also financial freedom, which you were saying exactly, right?
yeah. Oh my
Uh,
God. A lot of people neglect it because
absolutely.
sometimes when people associate self-development, they just only think of the gym and the physical part of it. Because I guess that's where all of it starts. You know, everyone always, starts off with the gym as like their self-improvement journey, but it's much more than that, It's much more than just physical. It's also, emotional, spiritual, stuff like that. So you got to be well-rounded in all areas to actually succeed in the realm, I'd say. Like
Exactly.
obviously physical health is super important, but you gotta be that well-rounded person. So
Exactly. Just what
that's
Oleg
how I
was
put it.
saying there. We were talking the other, what was it? Like a couple days ago, Oleg and I were talking about there are 5 categories in self development, right? And Oleg listed a couple, but I'll list them right now. If you've got a journal, you might want to write this down because it's really important. Journal, notebook, whatever it might be. First one is mental. We can all think of that. And first thing I associate with mental is mindset, right? Building a good mindset. Next is physical. We all know the gym, right? But it's not just the gym, whether it be running, cycling, just taking a walk, take your dog out for a walk. You just need to get active, right? Reduce
Sports in general, just any physical activity. Yeah.
exactly, releases endorphins, keeps you in shape. Next is emotional, right? Emotional is kind of a tough one. Um, but it's basically how well do you control your emotions? How do you
Stoicism.
exactly how do you act when, let's say, I'm angry, right? Am I going to keep it to myself? Am I going to just completely unleash, right? But it's also how do you reflect upon your emotions as well? How do you sit? How do you, like, when you come home, you sit down and you have a chat with yourself? Hey, I acted this way. That was wrong. I said this. That was wrong. You know what I mean? Self reflection. That's a big thing. That's a whole big part of self development, right? Then we got social, your networking, your relationships, family, friends, girlfriend, fiance, wife, etc. And then last is spiritual, which, I mean, a lot of people, look, even if you don't believe in God, there's still spiritual stuff that you can do, meditating, things like that, right? And it's all about calming, basically, like calming yourself, your body, your mind, spirit, aligning it.
Wouldn't Yeah, I guess wouldn't meditation also align itself with mindset, just like
Of
calm
course,
yourself down,
at the end of
sort
the day,
of?
everything's related because it's about you, right? Self development.
Hmm.
But we're going to talk about, to draw these two things together, we were talking about, how do you make your money work for you? And now we're talking about the five categories of self-development. So how does this relate? Well, the best investment vehicle, some might say, oh, put it in stocks, put it in real estate, put it in, I don't know, whatever it might be. But really the best thing, and I'll give you a hint. Oleg, don't answer because I want them to think. I'll give you a hint. This thing is with you all the time. What is it? Five, four, three, two, one. Okay, Oleg, go.
It's I mean, yourself, your
Exactly.
mentality. Yeah.
Exactly. It's yourself. That's the best thing you can invest in, yourself. And coming back to the five things, investing in your mental, your physical, your emotional, your social, and your spiritual, right? These five categories, right? How do you invest? And I'll get to invest what in yourself in a second into these five categories. Basically, think about it. We've used this before. It's a video game and you've got points. How are you going to put these points into these different categories? And I really hope for those people who are listening and still with us in the podcast, because I know we're going to lose a couple, right? For this, not to get off topic, but just a quick note. Before this, Ulk and I were talking, how are we going to make this interesting, right? Obviously, we try to make this podcast as interesting as possible. With a little more funding, it would be even better, right? Um, we should start a GoFundMe. But anyways, really the thing is, as as much as entertainment is a factor in things like this, really what matters is you're getting so much good information from us that we've spent, like, hours, days researching, finding, and we're basically giving out information for free, right? Mind you, it's not like we're reading a textbook to you and saying, here's the knowledge, right? There's a little bit of inferring needed, but really, this is a lot of valuable stuff. So I just want to really take a moment to almost thank you guys for, in a sense, working on yourself and progressing towards becoming the best version of yourself. Back to what I was saying, I've written down a couple things how you can invest in yourself. So first, we're going to go with something that everyone has is time, right? You can invest your time. And Oleg, I know you're going to talk about this. Talk to them. How much free content is out there for these people to learn?
Holy crap. Okay. I've I've mentioned this a lot, especially in the school episode, school series, but there's so much information out there. Listen, man, the internet has totally revolutionized how we, exchange information, gain information stuff. So even just simply on YouTube, there's so many mentors, so many people that have accomplished great things that put out free content for you to watch. And a lot of people neglect that, but man, just the amount of content there is just absolutely endless. There's popular YouTubers that, solely focus on self-improvement. They just put out content. Obviously, they get that YouTube AdSense and stuff, but overall, they're obviously trying to help others. So truly take advantage of that because if you invest your time into the proper, videos or the proper information that you have to, you'll truly get far in life. And I believe that.
Absolutely. And I just want to say, um, that's where the majority of our learning comes from, right? We we invest our time and we take the time out because look, at the end of the day, we're students, right? Yeah, sure, we have a part-time job here and there, right? Things like that. But look, when we do the cost benefit analysis, look, it's much better to invest our time than it is to our money, right? We don't have that much money to go invest. And I'm guessing for the majority of our target audience, right, it's probably something that resonates, right?
But
Of
at the
course,
same
we have,
time, time equals money. So they're kind of interchangeable, right?
I guess
Money
so.
is time and time is money, son.
If you're making money, absolutely. If you're not, well, this is why you should invest yourself. That's how you're going to make more money, right? When you become more valuable and the value you bring to the company, the world, etc., that's how much you get paid, right? Another thing is not to knock these people for making money off of sharing content. I mean, you're giving out content for free. The least we could do is with our time pay you through AdSense, right? I just think that's important. But that's a little bit about how to invest your time, right? Plenty of free content, plenty of time to go reach out to different people, whether mentors, your parents, friends, etc., right? Networking. That's how you can invest your time in yourself, right? Now we're going to talk about how you can invest your money. Now, I know the moment I say money, I can hear people being scarce and saying, "Ooh, I don't want to spend my money." You know what I mean? Because I'm the same way. I don't really want to spend my money, but you need to see the value in it. All right. If I if I told you go buy a book, I'm going to sound like your mom or your dad telling you to go buy a book. But if I told you, look, if you want to learn how to manage your money properly, uh, make your money work for you, you know, and become a, let's say, a millionaire in 10 years or less, I mean, you'd be dying. You'd be dying to say, okay, what do I get? What do I get? And it's just that book on the shelf in the bookstore, right? And you might say, well, how the hell is this damn whatever 180 pages going to tell me what to do, right? You'd be so surprised. You'd be so surprised. I mean, yes, of course we have the internet, right? But sometimes there are just things that you can't get on the internet that a book can give you. And I'm speaking from experience. I'm going to tell the story really quickly. In grade 9, I got told that I was possibly dyslexic. I was told I was mildly dyslexic. I I really was struggling so hard to read. It's crazy. And I've gone all my life and yes, I could read, but I'm not going to lie, I wasn't the best reader. And I hated books. I absolutely hated books. And you know why I hated books? Because I couldn't read the damn book fast enough. I remember whenever we were in class and someone would assign 10 pages, man, these kids could read 10 pages in what, like 10 minutes, maybe a page a minute, which is actually, I mean, in a sense, kind of slow too. I feel like some people are reading much faster. But mind you, we're in elementary school. Man, can you not? 10 pages would take me like an hour. I don't know why I was so slow, but I hated fiction. The book wasn't interesting, and I couldn't understand what the hell I was reading. That's why videos were so good for me. That's how I learned. That's still how I learned. But I think it was about by the time I got into grade 10, and I was like, okay, you know what? I need to start reading books. I hear so much good stuff about them. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Sat down. At first it was tough. At first it was very tough. I'm not gonna lie. Like my reading skills weren't terrible. All right. But I definitely by no means am I dyslexic, by the way. I want to put that out. I was never tested or anything. I was just saying that I was told from a counselor, my English teacher, which is interesting. But that's another story for another day. But what I did is I sat down before bed and I would go read my book. And if I got through 2 pages, that's fine. If I got through 1 page, that's okay. If I got through 10 pages, that's okay. What matters is before bed, I read and I finished that book. And I can tell you what right now, the way I look at the world is completely different after reading the book. I think Oleg can relate to this. Absolutely. I see his eyes looking at me. It's so true. It is so true. I heard this in a video. It's so true. When you finish a book, even while you're reading a book, you look at the whole world differently. And I'm going to really go into this. I want you guys to listen to this because this is very important. When we said, Oleg and I said a couple episodes back, the 5 people you hang out with the most, in a sense, make up you, right? I'm kind of paraphrasing, right? I don't know how the
You're
exact words.
you're the average of the 5 people you spend most time with, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Look, I know a lot of us can relate to this that look, it's just so hard to find good, like 5 good people to surround ourselves with, which is crazy to say, but it's true. And instead of surrounding yourself with people, what you can do is you can surround yourself with a book. All right. Hear me out. I was thinking about this really hard and I was like, okay, I really can't see myself around 5 people that I really truly feel are going to elevate me to that next level and really were going to dive deep and, in a sense, elevate me. I was just like, okay, what do I do? Well, I filter the media and the content that I consume. And I went down. I'm like, okay, these are the people I'm subscribed to. These people are going to help me. These are the people I follow on Instagram. These people are going to help me. Right. These are the books I'm reading. And if you see on my Instagram too, I only follow a couple people. And I've had people ask me, oh, why is this? I'm going to be honest. The only things I want on my page are things that are going to really, inspire me,
Body
motivate me,
value.
educate me.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. I don't care that someone's at this party because that's irrelevant to me. I don't care that somebody did this or somebody did that. No offense. My true friends are going to pick up the phone and say, hey, guess what I did this weekend? That's what I really consider. And that's my personal value. I feel like a lot of people have a problem with that. That's okay. Sometimes, like, it's hard to just be nice to everyone. Some people are going to get offended. That's not my fault. I'm expressing how I live my life, right? And I really think, again, use your own uh, reasoning for this, but I really think that's a good strategy because I can tell you when I cut out all that shit on my page, I really feel like, oh, my mind is so much lighter. I don't feel like I'm carrying so much weight, so much FOMO, the fear of missing out, worrying about everything. Uh, but to get back to it, I know I've been talking a lot. I mean, there's just so much good content. It's almost like I can't shut up, man. I'm like feeding these guys free
Yeah.
content. You're not even paying for this. Can you believe that? It's free content. We're not even getting AdSense or anything. Not yet. Hopefully soon. All right. But back to how do you invest your money? Yes, books, but also I want to put out. I've spent close to $1,000 in courses and material and everything on high performance. Right. Like
Yeah.
think about.
You told me about this. But actually, sorry,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
just I feel like going back to the whole book thing. I agree with you that obviously books, this author put in a lot of work and a lot of his experiences, hours into this book, wrote it down and published this. So he gave all his knowledge out like that. Obviously, the book is gonna, give you a new perspective or give you more in depth of things that you already knew and stuff like that. But I think if you don't really apply these concepts in real life, does the book really help you? Because you could just be just mindlessly reading stuff, but if you're not actually going to apply it to real life, have you actually learned anything? So I think what's most important is that yes, reading is good, but taking action is just far more important. So I like books. I try and read at least one book a month, maybe a book in 2 months, give or take, depending on my schedule and stuff. But I feel like if I don't apply these concepts in real life, I haven't really, learned much. You know what I mean? So I think
I'm
it
gonna
kind of goes that way.
I'm gonna say something right now. I got asked in person why I chose you to be my co-host, and I think that is, by the way, we're co-hosts and co-hosts, right? But why I basically was like, okay, I think Oleg is the perfect fit. I'm gonna reach out to him and let's start a podcast, right? Because we've always wanted to do something. But that is exactly why I think we complement each other so good. Just that exactly to build off of each other's like well, well damn put, man. I'm so glad you stopped me and you told me that because that is so important and that's so true. I'm reading Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins right now. And one of his things in this book, right, is like he puts challenges, challenge one, challenge two. After reading the section, okay, this is what you need to do, right? So I'll go out, I'll take, I don't know, whether it's my journal or something, I got to do the activity, right? But I think it's so important that you said that because it's so true. If I just mindlessly read a book, I'm not going to get anything, right? Same thing if watching a video, right? People watch endless TikToks videos. You have to take action, right? And that's a big thing you're going to hear in self-development is we always say take action, take action. Okay, what does take action mean? Well, when you learn something, first of all, you better write it down or get it to somewhere that you can remember it because I feel like most of us have short-term memory and short attention span. But really, now you have to look at your life, sit down, reflect and say, okay, how am I going to adapt this into my life? Whether it be, okay, I'm going to put in my schedule, whether I'm going to, message a friend, be like, hey, hold me accountable to do this, right? Those are big things. We're going to talk about accountability partners as well. Uh, and just finally, yeah, getting back to what I was saying, I spent $1,000, near $1,000 on courses. And you can look at that and say, oh, he's rich. He's got $1,000 to spend. Oh, I can tell you right now, work your bum off and put the money into yourself because that's the best investment you're ever going to make. I don't have to be like, look, go get a part-time job. Go ask for money from your parents. I don't think it's a bad thing to ask for money from your parents, right? I mean, I'm not working full time. Obviously, it'd be
If it's
nice.
towards a good cause, then
Exactly.
perhaps.
I mean,
But sorry, just going back to the whole book thing again. It's just books obviously really important, but there's something you got to consider. Even man, like just don't be afraid to just read the book again. Just read it a second time, kind of absorb that re-information again, right? You could always obviously like write down stuff, but personally, what I've done is I've obviously reread a couple books, twice, three times, just so that information really sinks in. Because maybe the first time I may not get it, I may not understand what's going on, but once I read it again, I feel like it truly sinks in to my brain, and then I can after that provide action.
man, you just really like books, huh? Joking around.
And then
No, but
they're
honestly,
good. I mean,
honestly, well said.
information from people that just have testimonials, they've always accomplished things with their life. They put out that
Absolutely.
information, so they're credible enough. I mean, why wouldn't you listen to them?
I mean, if I'm being honest, books are probably the reason why I don't think I'm dyslexic. I would have believed I was dyslexic if I didn't start reading books, man.
Mm.
Um,
Would you have transitioned to like online books, like Kindle and stuff?
I'm gonna be honest. I use audiobooks for everything, man. If I get assigned a book, I use the audiobook and I follow
Oh,
along
oh,
with the
really?
book. Yeah.
Personally, I can't do audiobooks. I don't know why. I can't sit down in front of the screen and read. I have to have like a physical book. I don't know if it's just
No,
me,
no, I
but
do
I just
both. I do
prefer.
both. I do
Oh, okay,
both.
you do
I have
both.
the physical book and I follow along. But back to this. Okay, wait. First, let me ask you: is there anything more you need to say about books?
No, no, I'm
All
done with books. I'm
right, all
done with
right.
books.
Moving on, because it's really important. Okay, okay, I'm not gonna go over this. You know how much I spend on courses. Why did I spend on courses? Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. Look, I watched these people's YouTube videos. I saw the value and I saw why the course would help me. I made the decision myself and said, you know what? That is worth spending. I'm going to buy this. This is a reputable person. He's helped me through his free content. All right. I think that's the big thing. He's helped me through his free content that if I pay, I'm just going to be helped to the next level. I think that's why I put the money in. But I can tell you from that $1,000, if I didn't spend that $1,000, I wouldn't have known as much as I know now. I wouldn't be in the place that I know now. And I've I've adapted these high performance habits to the point where it's like it's almost second nature when I'm going through my day that I really don't have to think about it. Sometimes I feel like I'm being unproductive, but in a sense, like I feel like I'm not being productive because I'm not following my schedule anymore. But just the way I approach work, how I divide it up, how I'm able to micromanage, how I use my Google Calendar and say, okay, this is the time I'm doing this. I use my Notion and say, all right, these are the works, these are the priorities. It's like second nature that I'm doing it in class, which I would have never known. The way of just how I get up in the morning, I every time I try to talk myself out and I say, shut up, let's go. And I get out of bed and it's like instant. I'm like, whoa, all because I spent that money. And to be honest, it was a good investment. Although you could be like, oh, you're not earning any more money. Well, life became easier for me, right? And because I saved myself so much time, right, doing all these high performance things, I had time to do the other stuff that I want to do. Like I'm still able to enjoy my weekends. I'm able to enjoy my nights. I'm able to get my work done faster. Instead of procrastinating and spending 4 hours, I get it done in 45, right? 45 minutes, not hours, by the way. Um, just a couple of things I'm going to ask you first. Look, we've got about a minute left on our recording. Should we make this a part two? Because I kind of want to make it a part two.
Let's do it
Let's do it. Honestly,
again.
and this is going to be something Oleg and I do a lot is if you ever do get into podcasting, man, I know I'm talking a lot, by the way. You know what, I'll let you say it. I'll let you say it. If you get into I'm going to say this and then you finish up. Okay. If you ever get into podcasting, you'll understand. Once you start going, you can't stop.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the thing you got to remember about podcasting is that all it is just a conversation, it's all just a conversation between two people, sometimes three guests, whatever. But the point is, it's a conversation. So I would say Drake and I have decent streams of consciousness. So we can go on for especially topics that we're interested in, self-development, self-improvement. This things we're actually interested in. We put in our time, effort into this, right? So I think it's super important. Just podcasting is just conversation between two people and just, kind of keep on going with just keep talking, share ideas, share information. Truly important.
All right, perfect. We'll see you in the next episode.